Here we go again. Another week, another quarterback controversy, and this time, it's gone nuclear. Because when Tom Brady, the golden boy of gridiron greatness, Mr. 199 TH pick, to GOAT, the man who spent 2 decades redefining NFL success, decided to open his mouth about what makes a real quarterback, he didn't just ruffle feathers. He set the entire internet on fire. And at the center of that fire, Shedeur Sanders. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Yep, Brady didn't say his name directly, but let's not play dumb. He didn't have to. The comments were loaded, surgical, passive-aggressive poetry disguised as old-school wisdom. You know the type. I like quarterbacks who don't seek attention, who put the team first, who act like they've been there before. Sure, Tom. The subtext? Screaming. The target? Obvious. Because when you're talking about young quarterbacks with confidence, charisma, a little flash, and a whole lot of media attention, there's really only one name you're hinting at in today's NFL landscape. Shedeur freaking Sanders. Now, let's be clear. Shedeur didn't do anything to provoke this. He didn't throw shade. He didn't take shots. All he did was be himself. Flashy but focused. Confident but coachable. The type of player who brings juice to a position that desperately needs it. But somehow, that's the problem. Not his arm. Not his poise. Not his stats. His style. And this is where the hypocrisy gets loud. Because if anyone knows about building a personal brand, it's Tom Brady. Let's not pretend TB12 wasn't plastered on everything from nutrition supplements to Ugg boots. The man turned avocado ice cream into a lifestyle. So for him to come after a younger player for expressing himself, for leaning into who he is, it's giving insecure king energy. And fans? Oh, they caught the shade immediately. Social media lit up like a scoreboard. Brady's comments went viral, with most of the replies reading like, "Jealousy doesn't look good on you, Tom." But what started as just another spicy media moment quickly took a hard left. Because now, the New York Giants have entered the chat. According to insiders, the Giants are watching the situation closely. Very closely. They're not just side-eyeing the league's treatment of Shedeur. They're actively discussing the possibility of making a move. A bold one. As in, bring him here. And that would be seismic. Because what we're witnessing isn't just a quarterback being overlooked. It's a textbook case of systemic bias in real time. A young, talented, outspoken black quarterback who performs better than his peers but keeps getting buried on depth charts. While less dynamic, less productive players move ahead because they fit the mold. You know the mold. Buttoned up, emotionless, humble to the point of invisibility. Basically, a walking cliche in cleats. Shedeur? He's the opposite. He shows up in designer fits. He flexes his confidence. He talks his talk and then backs it up on the field. And for some people in the league, that's too much. But here's where it gets interesting, because the Giants, they're not like most franchises. This team has been quietly rebuilding, quietly shifting its identity. And lately, they've started showing signs that they're ready for a new kind of energy. A quarterback who isn't just serviceable. Someone who doesn't just manage a game. Someone who owns it. Enter Shedeur. Word is, the Giants are sick of playing it safe. Tired of being an afterthought in the NFC. And they see in Sanders something the rest of the league is too scared or too proud to admit, that he's special. Let's talk metrics for a second. No, really just a sec. Shedeur's completion rate, higher than multiple starters. His pocket awareness, elite for a rookie. His leadership, unshakable. And don't even get started on his film. The man makes off-platform throws look designed. He sees the field like a vet, and he doesn't get rattled, even when the blitz is coming like a freight train. So why is he sitting third string behind quarterbacks who look like they're playing Madden with the controller unplugged? Politics, bias, and fear. The NFL, for all its bravado about innovation in the future, still loves control. It loves predictability. And Shedeur, he's unpredictable. Not because he's reckless, because he's alive. because he plays with swagger, with soul, with personality. But to a league that's been shaped by decades of old white men in polo shirts calling the shots, that kind of authenticity terrifies them. And now, Tom Brady, the face of the old regime, is essentially telling the world that personalities don't belong under center. Translation, know your place. But the public isn't buying it. If anything, Brady's comments backfired. Instead of diminishing Shedeur's shine, they amplified it. Fans rallied. Media circled. Even other players began speaking up. Because people are tired of watching quarterbacks who are all image and no fire. And Shedeur? He's the opposite. He's real. And that's why the Giants standing with him matters. Because this could be the tipping point. A franchise willing to break ranks and say, you know what? Screw the politics. Screw the mold. We want talent. We want leadership. We want Shedeur. And if they do make that move, if they bring him to New York, it's not just a roster change. It's a statement. It says a quiet part out loud. The league has a bias problem, and they're done pretending otherwise. Let's say it plainly. This situation isn't just about one player. It's about all the players who don't get a fair shot because they don't act the part. It's about the quarterbacks with soul, with voice, with flavor, who get told to sit down and shut up while the league recycles mediocrity in a blazer. Shedeur's journey? It's bigger than football. It's a cultural pivot point. And Brady's comments, whether fueled by jealousy, ego, or just plain obliviousness, lit the match. Now, everyone's watching. Every snap Shedeur takes. Every team meeting he walks into. Every sideline stare down. It's all under a microscope now. And the message? Adapt or get left behind. Because this league is changing fast. The new generation of fans? They don't want robots. They don't want hollow press conferences. They want authenticity. They want passion. They want players who stand for something and don't apologize for who they are. Shedeur is that guy. So as the Giants circle, as fans demand better, and as the Brady-led old guard clutches their pearls, one thing is becoming crystal clear. The revolution is here. And Shedeur Sanders? He's not waiting for permission. He's just waiting for the snap. So what do you think? Is Brady bitter or just stuck in the past? Are the Giants about to make the boldest move of the season? And is this the moment the league finally wakes up and starts rewarding talent over image? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that subscribe button and stay locked in. Because the league isn't just changing. Shedeur Sanders is changing it. This isn't just about Shedeur Sanders anymore. This isn't even about Tom Brady, the Giants, or whichever offensive coordinator is nervously refreshing Twitter to see where the fire lands next. This is a reckoning. Because what started as a side-eye comment from a retired quarterback, disguised as wisdom for the younger generation, has turned into a full-on movement. And at the center of it is a 21-year-old rookie who hasn't even started a full NFL season, but has already managed to shape the foundation of how quarterbacks are perceived in this league. Let that sink in. We're watching a shift, slowly, awkwardly, and with plenty of resistance, but a shift nonetheless. One where the narrative is no longer fall in line or ride the bench. One where swagger doesn't disqualify substance. One where having a brand, a voice, and a pulse no longer makes you a problem child. And Shedeur? He's a litmus test. The fact that the New York Giants, one of the league's most edition-bound, historically tight-laced franchises, are not only paying attention, but reportedly considering signing him, that's not just football news. That's a cultural tremor. Because if they break ranks and bring him in, it'll signal to the rest of the league that the old way might finally be cracking under the weight of its own hypocrisy. Let's not forget what Brady's original quote was really saying beneath all the pretty packaging. I like quarterbacks who don't seek attention. Translation. I like quarterbacks who behave. Translation of that translation. I like quarterbacks who don't threaten my legacy by doing it differently. And let's talk about that legacy for a second. Yes, Brady is a GOAT. That's not in dispute. But his journey wasn't built on humility alone. It was built on strategy, branding, control. From his TB12 method to his curated image, Tom Brady played the long game of football and PR with equal mastery. And now, For him to suggest that Shedeur's style disqualifies him from being taken seriously, that his presence, confidence, or, God forbid, personality is some kind of liability, that's not just out of touch. That's threatened. Because here's what Brady and the rest of the quarterback old guard need to understand. This new generation, they're not trying to be carbon copies of anyone. They don't want to fit into some sanitized mold of what a QB should be. They're not here to nod politely and stay quiet during pressers. They're here to play and win and live and speak and be seen. And guess what? The fans are here for it. When Shedeur Sanders steps on the field, people watch. Not because of his dad, not because of his outfit, but because he's good, because he has vision, command, timing, because the game slows down around him, and the moment never gets too big. But let's be honest, that's never been enough in this league, has it? If you're flashy and white, you're marketable. You're exciting. You're a gunslinger. If you're flashy and black, you're immature, unfocused, not a team guy. And that double standard, it's older than the league itself. So when Brady leans into that language, whether he means to or not, he's propping up a system that's been quietly and sometimes loudly punishing players like Shedeur for decades. Players who come in confident. Players who don't hide their shine. Players who don't ask for a seat at the table. They bring their own chair. And what's even more frustrating, the metrics back Shedeur every time. He throws with precision. He sees the field. He's tough in the pocket. He's mentally composed in ways veterans still struggle to be. He is, by all objective football measures, exactly the kind of player a smart team would build around. But the NFL, it's not always smart. It's not always fair. It's not even always about football. It's about comfort. It's about familiarity. And Shedeur Sanders makes him uncomfortable because he doesn't apologize for being great. He doesn't hide his confidence. He dares to look like a star before he's been crowned one. And that breaks the NFL's unspoken rulebook into pieces. But here's the twist. Fans aren't buying the old rulebook anymore. Not when we've seen it happen over and over. Players with all the tools, all the intangibles, getting overlooked because they didn't play the right way. And now, the New York Giants might be the first to say, screw the rulebook. They see the backlash to Brady's comments. They see the support pouring in for Shedeur. They know that if they pull the trigger, if they bring him in, it's not just a signing, it's a statement. That talent matters. That authenticity matters. That being yourself matters. That we are done with a performative quarterback archetype. And let's talk logistics for a second. The Giants need life. Daniel Jones has been on the maybe list for too long. He's not terrible, but he's not winning you a Super Bowl either. They've tried the middle-of-the-road QB thing for years. And where has it gotten them? One playoff win and a lot of awkward press conferences. Bringing in Shedeur doesn't just give you a talent injection. It gives you a brand refresh. You're not just getting a quarterback. You're getting an identity. And let's not act like Shedeur's story isn't made for New York. Son of a legend, written off too early, hungry, charismatic, a quarterback with the poise of a CEO and the confidence of a rapper. You plug him into that New York media machine, and it explodes in the best way possible. He's already got the following, the charisma, the discipline. Now, he just needs the opportunity. And if the Giants give it to him, phew, buckle up, because suddenly the conversation shifts. Shedeur isn't the underdog anymore. He's the face of a franchise. He's doing interviews on the Today Show. He's leading comebacks at MetLife. He's silencing the critics every Sunday. And as for Brady, well, he's watching from his beachfront mansion as the quarterback he once tried to shade becomes a quarterback every kid wants to be. Poetic. So here's where we leave it. The NFL has a choice to make. Keep clinging to outdated definitions of leadership and professionalism, or finally evolve. Keep punishing personality, or start celebrating it. Keep rewarding conformity, or embrace the future. And Shedeur Sanders? He is the future. Not because he says so, but because the league can't seem to stop talking about him, even when he's not playing. Because every time he steps into a room, the narrative shifts. Because he's already doing something no third-string rookie quarterback should be able to do. make the league uncomfortable. And maybe that's exactly what the NFL needs. So let's see if the Giants have the guts to start the revolution. Because if they do, they might not just change their season. They might change the league. If the New York Giants pull this off, if they actually go and get Shedeur Sanders, this won't just be the biggest quarterback move of the year. It'll be the moment the NFL officially got dragged into the 21st century, kicking, screaming, and clutching its pearl-encrusted playbook. Because what we're watching unfold isn't just a roster shakeup. It's a philosophical war. Authenticity versus control. Talent versus conformity. Culture versus comfort. And Shedeur, whether he asked for it or not, he's been cast in the role of disruptor-in-chief. Let's go back for a second, because this entire firestorm started with a few so-called innocent comments from Tom Brady. You remember the coded wisdom, the all-too-familiar dog whistles about how young quarterbacks need to focus on the game and not build brands and act like they've been there before. Sure, Tom, the irony would be laughable if it weren't so telling. This is the same Tom Brady who turned the NFL into his own personal TED Talk. The same Tom Brady who had a camera crew following him around like he was a lifestyle guru with a Super Bowl ring. But now, a young black quarterback wears a Rolex to a presser, and suddenly he's a problem? Please. The league has been pulling this move for decades. The quiet professional quarterback archetype wasn't designed by accident. It was built to reinforce a very narrow, very safe idea of leadership. Translation? If you're too loud, too confident, too yourself, you're not serious. You're not reliable. You're not QB material. And let's be clear, this isn't just about race. But also, yeah, it absolutely is about race. Because what people are really uncomfortable with isn't Shedeur's stats, or even his social media presence. It's his freedom. His refusal to shrink himself to fit a mold, his audacity to say, I belong here, before anyone else give him permission. That kind of energy, it scares the old guard, especially when it comes to an arm that can drop dimes across the middle and eyes that read a blitz like he's got cheat codes. So when Brady made his remarks, let's not pretend they were just football talk. That was gatekeeping. And the reason it blew up like wildfire online, because everyone could feel it. The undercurrent, the message, the same old narrative being re-gifted in a new wrapper. And people, especially younger fans, have had enough. They're watching Shedeur, and they're not seeing a problem. They're seeing the future, which is why when the Giants started circling, the conversation shifted instantly, because the Giants aren't just any team. They're a legacy franchise. They're old money football. Lombardi trophies, Eli Manning, the ghost of Tom Coughlin still haunting the film room. So if they break with the status quo and make a move for Shedeur, that's not just a roster decision. That's a revolution. You don't make that kind of shift quietly. You make it because you're ready to plant a flag and say, yeah, we're done waiting for the league to catch up. We're moving forward now. And it's not just New York. You better believe there are other teams watching this unfold in real time. Front offices who sat on their hands while lesser QBs get elevated above Shedeur on depth charts, try and convince themselves that he needs more time. What Shedeur needs is more time. He needs a shot. He needs a team to believe in him, not after 3 injuries and a preseason breakout, but now, when it matters, when it counts. And it's not because he's flashy or famous or marketable. It's because the kid is good. Don't take my word for it. Watch the tape. He's calm in the pocket. His mechanics are cleaner than most of the starters in the league right now. He doesn't just have potential. He's already showing command that usually takes years to develop. The problem isn't his ability. It's the league's refusal to give him the ball. And that's why Brady's comments hit a nerve. Because they expose a truth that too many people in power pretend not to see. There's a ceiling for guys like Shedeur, and it's not based on performance. It's based on perception. Too cool? Too vocal? Too close to Dion? They'll frame it 100 different ways. But it all comes back to the same coded excuse. He's not what we're used to. Well, guess what? What you're used to isn't working anymore. Because this generation of athletes, they don't want to be cardboard cutouts. They don't want to recite cliches and fade into the background. They want to play. They want to win. They want to be themselves. And the fans? They're 100% behind that. Every time Shedeur's name trends, every time Brady's remarks get ratioed into oblivion, every time a new meme pops up showing Shedeur in a Giants jersey, it's a reminder that the tide is turning. This league can either ride the wave or get swept away. And if the Giants are smart, they'll ride it hard. They'll make the move, take the risk, and own the future. Because if they don't, another team will. And then it'll be their stadium rocking every Sunday. It'll be their fan base rallying behind a young quarterback who actually reflects the world they live in, diverse, confident, plugged in, unapologetic. The NFL is always looking for its next superstar. Well, maybe he's been here the whole time, just waiting for someone to see him. So go ahead. Let Brady and the football traditionalists clutch their pearls and whine about distractions and celebrity culture. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is out here turning adversity into momentum. And when he finally gets his moment, whether it's in New York or somewhere else, you'll feel the impact, not just on the field, but through the entire league. Because when Shedeur shines, so does everyone who's ever been told to tone it down, be less, wait their turn. So what now? Do the Giants make the leap? Does the league finally admit that it's not 2005 anymore? And is Tom Brady going to be okay when the next generation of quarterbacks doesn't look or act anything like him? Time will tell. But one thing's for sure. Shedeur Sanders isn't waiting for your permission. He's ready now. And once he gets a shot, you'll wish you believed sooner. Watch this space. Because the revolution isn't coming. It's already here.